In this movie, I'll introduce you to the Separations Preview panel, which allows you to see how your various process color inks are going to interact with each other. Now, I should say before we go any further that this panel is specifically applicable to commercial reproduction, so it has nothing to do with outputting your job to a local printer, such as an inkjet or laser printer in your home or office. Rather, it's all about preparing your job so you can send it out to a commercial print house. But it's just as applicable whether you're printing directly from Illustrator or if you place your artwork into a page layout program such as InDesign. All right, so the first thing I'll do is go up to the window menu and choose Separations Preview in order to bring up the Separations Preview panel. Now, initially, it might appear blank, and that's because in my case, this is an RGB document. If you want to be able to see your separations, you're going to need to convert the document to CMYK by going up to the File menu, choosing Document Color Mode, and then choosing CMYK Color. Now, where this document is concerned, we have a lot of very vibrant colors, which are going to become much more muted when we convert the document to CMYK, and that is just the way that it goes. RGB tends to be a more lively color space than CMYK. But notice now that we've converted the document that I can see the various process color inks here inside the Separations Preview panel. But you may also notice that all of my options are dimmed. And that's because in order to see what's really going on, you need to turn on the Overprint Preview checkbox. Now, overprinting, by the way, in case you've never heard of it before, is all about the inks interacting with each other. So in other words, the cyan ink is printed on top of the magenta ink, which is printed on top of yellow, and so forth. And because each one of the inks is translucent, even black, by the way, is ultimately a translucent ink. By overprinting these inks on top of each other, you get this splendid degree of interaction. All right, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here by pressing Control plus or Command plus on the Mac. And now what you can do is you can turn your various inks on and off. Now, this is not going to affect the print job, by the way. It's just going to allow you to see how the colors are going to interact. And so the first thing I'm going to do is Alt or Option click on the eye in front of black. So the idea is this. I'll go ahead and Alt or Option click again. If I just click on the eyeball, then I'll turn that specific ink off, in this case black. And then if I click again in that blank region, then I'll turn the ink back on. Whereas if I go ahead and Alt or Option click on an eyeball, then I leave that ink on and I turn all the other inks off. So now we can see exactly what's going to print on the black plate. And so if we were to print using exclusively black, this is the effect that we'd get. If we add yellow, as you can see, by clicking in front of the yellow ink right there, then we get an interaction of the black and yellow inks working together. And so just for the sake of demonstration, I'll go ahead and turn off yellow now, and I'll turn on magenta so that we can see the interaction of the magenta and black inks. And by the way, things tend to make more sense when the black ink is turned on, because notice if I turn it off, we get this very garish effect. And even if I turn on the cyan and yellow inks now, we can see that a lot is missing right here. And that's because the black ink really helps to blend in the shadows, and it also contributes the luminance info. That is to say, it helps distinguish between the light areas and the dark areas. And so notice as soon as I turn black on, we end up darkening the artwork dramatically. Now, at this point, you might figure, well, this is pretty interesting. It allows you to get a sense for how the various process color inks, that is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, are going to interact with each other when you commercially reproduce the document. But it's also useful for evaluating spot colors and for troubleshooting a document, as we'll see in the following movies.